Alright ladies, so today I'm going to make a few videos. I'm hoping I can make a few videos. And the first video I'm going to be making is how to make an emotionally unavailable man chase. In the next couple days, well today or maybe tomorrow, I'm going to make a video on how to be happy, how to create a temptation, and how to get an ex-boyfriend back. Now I've never been able to get my ex-boyfriend back, but I will definitely help you. I never had a boyfriend, but I'll definitely help you how to get yours back with the things I teach and with some different with a different perspective than what I usually bring. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. For those who don't know, I started doing one-on-one coaching. You know, I really like doing one-on-one coaching. It feels like I'm Whoopi Goldberg from The View mixed with Dr. Phil. You know, like you get to see the gossip, and then I get to tell you guys what to do. I tell you guys to shut up and listen. It's really fun. You know, it's fulfilling a childhood fantasy. But let's get started. Men who are emotionally unavailable are men who have been hurt. Now, there are two completely different men out there. When you think of men who are emotionally unavailable, we think of guys who are players, guys who can't stay with one woman as dysfunctional. I get that often, right? But I get called dysfunctional. I get called you need a real woman in your life to protect you. And I'm like, okay, right, fuck you, man. But essentially, the reason why people think guys who don't like to commit are emotionally scarred, it's because we have a belief that the right thing is for a guy to get married and have kids. We value guys who are husband material, and we downgrade guys who are not husband material. You see, and that a lot of the times that's pretty much based on your culture, the kind of household you lived in, and more or less is not based on who you are as a person and how you are emotionally stable. It doesn't go that way, but a lot of guys are placed into that. So that's the first thing, is first having the right definition. Because just because he doesn't want to commit doesn't mean he's emotionally unavailable, you know? Guys who are emotionally unavailable are guys who are suppressing their emotions, are guys who don't express themselves, are guys who don't show a range of emotion, and when they try to show it, you see that they're suppressing it. Not because they're playing a game, but because of fear. They're very sensitive. When you say something about anything about them, or criticism, they react. That's being emotionally unavailable, because it means that you don't put yourself out there because you're afraid of being hurt. That's why you're emotionally unavailable. Our identity is pretty much tied into our emotions. If I show you my angry side, that's just an emotion, but our identity is based on our emotions. For example, there are some days that you don't feel like yourself. That means you feel differently as opposed to what you normally feel on a consistent basis. You see, so pretty much you could say your identity. Even remember, I say have no identity. But again, these are one of those paradoxes where I say don't do this, but at the same time do it. You gotta realize that your identity is based on how you feel. You see, so if you feel good, you're gonna be a happy person. You see, you're gonna see yourself as that. Okay. So it's based on how you feel. So that's actually a very quick way to change your personality, is to simply changing how you feel rather than doing it through conscious effort. But I'm being sidetracked right now. So what you need to do then is you gotta realize that a lot of the times guys get hurt in their childhood. Why does it happen in your childhood and not in like your teen years? For the simple fact that when you're a child, you don't know how to cope with negative emotions. Not only that, you're still weak mentally per se, malleable. Your brain is still elastic. It's still being formed. Anything can form it. You become more attuned to influences. That's why you learn faster when you're a child. When you're a child, there's no such thing as a hard language. There's just only the language that you presented. Like, you believe that, like, there's no such thing as a hard language. When you're a child, you learn anything as long as it's in front of you. The same thing with your environment. You'll become anything. It doesn't matter how evil and how you could become. But for example, like Saddam Hussein's son was known as an evil guy, but his childhood was riddled with seeing people get tortured, was riddled with violence. So and also he had to work to get his father's approval. So of course he saw his father as the evil guy, and he just wanted approval. He was made to at 9 years old, he was forced to watch people get tortured. So he was used to it. So yeah, you can say he's evil, but at the same time, you really look at it, you start to see, holy shit, like anyone under his situation could have been like him. Okay, so realize that who you are tends to happen when you're a child. So guys who experience a lot of pain, a lot of rejection, they can't manage those emotions. So as a result, because they can't cope with it, rather than deal with it, they suppress it. And sometimes you don't even remember what happened because you became emotionally unavailable, so you don't have to experience that pain. but that pattern keeps perpetuating itself and it matures into different things. That it doesn't look like how it first started, but just like you grow up, you never look like as you were a child. You mature and you grow up. Okay. So what you need to do then is to really get him to be himself. You got to get to that spot where he was hurt. That spot where he is running away from. So you gotta learn how to act out childhood desires. Alright, so you gotta give him a desire that wasn't given to him as a child, because emotionally unavailable means that his needs weren't met. Okay, so different children have different needs, and different men have different needs, different reasons why they're emotionally unavailable. Sometimes some men are not emotionally unavailable because they're afraid to commit. Some guys are emotionally unavailable because they noticed that when they got close to their parents, they didn't listen. So that's why you gotta listen and talk to them. Notice what he reacts to. Notice what annoys him. Notice what kind of words annoy him. Notice the things that he hates in people the most. Notice the quality that he loves in people the most. And notice the things that he doesn't like in people. And just think about it from the perspective of, if he doesn't like it, that means he lacked it. If he loves it, that means he needed it. You see? So for example, if you notice the guy is not disciplined, right? Let's say he's not disciplined, and he doesn't have a lot of good self-discipline. Okay, so then you're gonna notice that in reality, when he was a child, he wasn't really forced to have discipline. Most likely that it could have been the other way around, but most likely. So what you do then is to actually try to help him in the areas that he's not disciplined in through example, through first being an example, so he can say, "Wow, she is the thing that I'm not." Like, first be that, be it. Don't tell him, "Oh, I think you should clean your room." No, just clean your own room. When you pick up after your own self, and let him see it. And the guy's gonna notice. And if you don't impose that on him, he's gonna want that. Now, mind you, he's emotionally unavailable because he's afraid of criticism. So you just act out what you believe that he needs. You see, and you notice this. It takes a lot of nurturing. It takes actually you taking the time out to actually do this. You see, so. He's emotionally unavailable for a reason, so this motherfucker better have a 10-inch stick if he's gonna be doing all of this. Alright, but anyways, let's keep talking. Like, desire for affection. Find out what makes him react and what pisses him off about women. What pissed him off about his parents also. If he didn't have a father, give him direction. Learn how to give him direction. But first you gotta be that. You first gotta be the embodiment of what he lacked. You see what I'm saying? So you actually gotta talk to the guy and actually get to know him. So this is nothing that you could do short term. And notice where he openly admits to being weak and help him out. Notice where he openly says, "Yeah, I always struggle with this," and tell him that you're willing to help, and just find a way to communicate to him that you're willing to be there if he ever needs assistance. Okay, by asking him. By the way, I remember you told me last week that you struggle with this. How's that going? And just see how's it going. Just show that you kind of care. A lot of women will not do that. And even if they want to, they don't know how to do that. Like, this kind of stuff really gets to them. The more obvious this thing is that, because if you try to chase him to make him commit when he's emotionally unavailable, the more obvious you chase, the more you're going to drive him away. So yeah, you gotta treat him like a kid. I think, to be honest with you, in my mind, I'm like, you just being a little pussy. But not you, I'm the guy. But at the same time, I understand. I understand. Remember that the self is always coming through. So if you're doing it if you're trying to do this just to get him to love you, then still do it. But at the same time, just become aware of the neediness. Become aware of your motive. As long as you become aware of your motive, the little sub-communication of the intent, which comes from neediness, kind of gets blurred. As long as you become aware, because when you don't become aware, kind of like, that's how it uses you to sneak its behavior, to live out through you. Like, our neediness, it only lives through our unconsciousness of its awareness of its existence. So by just observing the neediness, it's not gonna act out through you. It's kind of like nullifies it. That's the best way I could put it. So anyways, by doing all of these, by giving him the things that he never had as a child, you're in a way regressing him. That's what we're doing. We're regressing him. And by regressing him into his past, you allow him to experience and heal the things that he never had. And also, another thing is to have fun. Learn to be self-amused on your own self. be uninhibited. When you become uninhibited, people can actually want to be themselves around you. If they're actually a depressed person, they may seem happy, but because they're around you, they may actually start being depressed because they're actually letting go of those emotions. You see, if you're uninhibited, you're gonna notice people. You're gonna notice that people are more playful around you. That's because only children are playful. And so when you're uninhibited, you remind people of their childhood, and nothing makes people smile than thinking of the good times when you were a child. I mean, notice that. Just think about that. Like, out of all the childhoods, memory, the ones that scare us the most are the ones that bring the most happiness are the ones when we're children. So you don't have to. This thing is that you don't have to bring the memory to feel the emotion. You just have to experience the emotion of a child. So if you actually learn to take life not that seriously, be present, be uninhibited, not care what people say, do the tactics that I teach on this channel. I have so many tactics for that. You'll be able to bring out the best in people. And sometimes the best doesn't equal happiness and productivity. Sometimes the best equals depression, sadness, because that's the most important thing that needs the person's attention, you know? So in a way, doing therapy in a way. And because you can't get to a guy if he's emotionally unavailable. You got to bring him out. You have to bring him out. Bring him out. No, I'm kidding. You got to bring him out, you know? So aside from that, having a bit of narcissism won't hurt as well. Remember, what ties us, what shows us how much we love our parents is when they hurt us. When they hurt us, you know, either through, like, I don't know, like fucking punishment, through a chancleta, whatever it is, if they bring us pain, we're gonna get mad at them, and that pain that they inflict to us is a reflection of, fuck you, you don't love me, nobody who loves you will hit me like this. But then suddenly you get proven wrong when they come back and say it was all because I loved you, right? And so you kind of like, fuck you. Okay, where's my food? Like, you know, like, you kind of like, should I be mad at them? But they gave me this, so fuck that shit, I can forgive you, you know. And so that's how you also bring him back into that emotional state. So he kind of, in a way, he'll kind of deal with those emotions through you, you know. And but the thing is that you gotta learn to give him space as well, and that space is done through backing off, also making him chase, you know. So if he's always texting you, if you're the one who always has to initiate the text, give him space and let him text you first. It doesn't fucking matter if it takes 30 days for him to text you. Text him. Don't text him, so that he realizes that the only way for him to get a response from you is to get you to text first. I'm just telling you, like, that's how you call the guy's bluff. And so when you create that space, so for example, let's say that he does something that you don't want him to do, like you're being nice to him, like you're doing all of this, and remember, like, you're nurturing him, you're doing all these tactics, but also the key element is the space, the natural narcissism. Like, you gotta give that, because that's the part that like does the trick, the head blow, the space, right? Because when you have that space, that's when you begin to grow insecure, the guy, and he's been used to your warmth, and so in a way it kind of like regresses him to his childhood. And so that I think that's called not a regression. If Freud called it a, what do you call that? A not counterintuitive. When you apply, okay, let me search it up. Freud, emotions, parents to someone else. It's called a transgression. God damn it, fucking shit. Please, somebody tell me. Somebody tell me this. A psychological projection of it. Yo, fuck that. See, it's right in my head. Okay, but alright, whatever. I really want to look for it, but it's making me angry. Don't you hate that? I'll find it. See, this is countertransference. It's called a countertransference. Okay, where you can deal with your emotions, so you kind of like attribute it to someone else. For example, have you been on a train, right? And the train says there's traffic ahead of us. Even though you were waiting for the train for 20 minutes and that shit didn't come, it says, you know, wait a minute, there's traffic ahead of us, and you get mad at the train guy, right? You get mad at him. But you can't tell him, because he can't hear you and he can't see you. So you don't know what the fuck to do with that emotion. It's kind of like Kamehameha. Like, you want to, like, you're like, I need to throw my anger at someone. Like Kamehameha anger. And when you don't know how to do it to somebody, you'll do it with anyone. So if somebody pisses you off in that second, you throw it at them. So the same thing is that when you're doing this, by regressing him, by doing these tactics to regress him to his childhood and feeding the anger, and then also feeling the happiness, a pattern very similar to when they were a child, like feeling of fear of the abandonment. You kind of make them actually feel that for you. And yeah, there's some hate in those emotions, but also there's some love, and that's how you create that attachment. But you got to understand though, you have to have an air of independence that makes a guy want to tame you, and which will which will cause them to be depending on you. Because your parents, the way you see your parents, seriously, when you were a child, you saw your parents as like perfect, right? Like they were like, wow, they had their shit together, right? And so because of that, we believed in them, so we were able to relax. We were able to close our eyes and let them guide us through life, because they knew what the fuck they were doing. Even though they didn't, they gave us the impression of that. So that made us trust them. They constantly validated that they will always be there for us. So when we felt fear, it was during the times when it saved us of fear that actually made us feel the most validated. That actually made us feel, wow, like she really cares. Not because she was there for us during the good times, but that she rescued us from an emotional disturbance. You see, so the way you do that is by having an air of independence, which is to say, there's other people around you that conflict for your attention. There's other people that need me, so I'm independent. I don't need you. It's kind of like when you have siblings. When you have siblings, you compete for your parents' attention. You see, so you also do that through instilling jealousy and through being independent. You don't have to say you have other guys, but by simply being unattached, it makes the guy think, why is she so unattached? So that's a way to regress him. And so that's why you gotta have that air of innocence, because when a child knows that there's competition for his attention, he's gonna try to do better things for his mother, right? And that will actually grow them and get closer to you. Another way is to withdraw sexual favors. It's about, okay, not me, okay? That don't even try to do that to me, all right? Fuck that shit. But generally speaking, though, we're doing it to tease them, not to get revenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, do that just for tease, not for revenge, like anger. Like, I'm not gonna have. So that's what you want to do. You don't want to do it out of revenge, because then you're gonna treat sex as a bargaining chip. You don't want to do that. Sex is no bargaining chip, man. Don't use pussy as a bargaining chip. So it's all about standing out to the guy by being cold, because everyone's hot. When a guy's emotionally unavailable, his whole life is people wanting his attention. So it's all about making him be the one who needs your attention by showing what you could potentially give him. Only small doses, so that he can know what's coming. Like when you give him just small doses, it makes him imagine what would happen if it was like a big dose. You see? And that's what you want. Alright? So the first step is attention and affection whilst being cold at the same time. Alright? And so that's how you're able to get guys who are emotionally unavailable. I hope that made sense. I know it looked a little complicated, but you could use the other tactics for the same thing. But this is more of a different way. Like I could have made it simpler, but because I'm like, you know what? Let me give you guys a different way to do it. I have so many fucking ways to achieve one thing. It's not even funny. Like, because mind you, like I had to practice how to meet women in the daytime, nighttime, club setting, like in every fucking setting, online setting, like every setting, I had to learn. So because of that, I feel like it really does give me the advantage to think of things that are outside the box, think of things that just most guys wouldn't think of. And so that's why I'm able to maybe come up with different ideas for different scenarios that I would have not thought of, but that actually work. Simply because I actually have the fundamentals of attraction pretty down packed. Like I really doubt that anyone does it like this. But yo, on Valentine's Day, I'm gonna have someone here, right? I'm gonna have someone do a video for you guys. A guest video talker. You know what I'm talking about. And I really like his content, so I want you guys to check him out because he's a really good guy. Anyways, I want you guys to have a good day and bye bye.